Hello everyone and welcome to this new devlog for the Astreterre project. I am Oran and Astreterre is a 2D tactical role-playing game inspired by the world of Minecraft. Today I'm going to show you a big step forward in the project, the creation of the dialogue system. Before talking about dialogue, we must first talk about non-player characters. I created a new class and created the minimum for these NPCs to appear in the game. They have ID, gender, skin, simple collisions. For now, they don't have animation. They do not move and they do not yet have an existence in the combat system. They are there only to be able to trigger dialogues. I created a collision-shaped 2D as a circle. This is an area where I can easily tell if the player is entering or exiting. I have chosen for the moment that we could activate a dialogue by pressing the space key. When this is done, the game first checks to see if the player is in an interaction zone with an NPC before displaying a dialogue page. I created several graphic elements to be able to display a dialog page. What I call a page is what you see. That is to say, two characters who speak, their portrait, their name, a text zone, and possibly a zone of choice for the player. You can also see that I have chosen some animations for the appearance of these elements. The speaking character is bigger, his name is white. The text shifts to the side of the speaking character. The choices shift to the player. It can be on the right or on the left. For that, I use animation player nodes, which have the different animations with fades and moves. I created several identical nodes because I have to trigger several animations at the same time, and you can only activate one at a time in a single animation player. What you see in the screen is actually a single scene, which I create each time a dialog page appears, with the correct settings. The content of all these elements, texture of the portraits, name of the characters, texts and choices, is loaded just before their animation. The scene is deleted at the end of a dialogue. In order to prepare the dialog pages more easily, the content of each page is actually created in a spreadsheet. There are all the characteristics of the page here. The first column identifies who is speaking, left and right. I thought about three emotions, normal, happy and angry, which allow to modify the portrait. Then there is a main text and its translation. I remind you that I plan to create the game in French and English. There are possibly the choices for the player and finally the consequences of the dialogue, for example an update of the quest log. This file, in a spreadsheet, is exported in JSON format. JSON is a standardized format that allows information to be stored and easily retrieved in Godot or other software. They come in this form, like a table. We could create them manually, but it's easier to do it through the spreadsheet that I showed you. The presentation is clearer, we can make spelling corrections before exporting in the JSON you see. In this file, there is an entry next, which indicates the index of the next page, and the entry go to, which corresponds to the next pages according to the choice decided by the player. In the game, the player will be able to make choices. The gray area under the main text is larger or smaller, depending on the number of choices. Each choice is actually a small scene on its own, which changes color as the cursor hovers over it. When the player chooses one, it triggers a series of animations that make part of the scene disappear. Then the next one is loaded in much the same way as the first. The game checks the index of the next page to load the correct sequel. When there is no choice, there is a simple arrow button to show the rest. When it is the last page of the dialog, we have a button in the shape of a cross. It is the keyword "and" written in the JSON file that allows you to find out. I have done a lot of thought to create a custom dialog system. I researched how to make quests, dialogues, and NPCs work together. So, I have a quests and dialogues list scene in which each dialogue corresponds to a node. When loaded an NPC, its script analyzes the catalog of dialogues to make a list of the dialogues that are accessible to it. When the player interacts with this NPC, its script checks the execution conditions of a dialogue to choose which one to display. For example, if a quest has not yet started, the dialogue for starting this quest can be chosen. This will be linked to the future quest log. Finally, a dialog page is created and will load the JSON file of the dialog to display. One way to debug some situations later will be to check which dialogues are accessible for a particular NPC. For that, once the game is started, each accessible dialogue is added as a node in the tree of each NPC. It is different from one NPC to another, and you can easily consult this tree in Godot in the Distant tab. Thanks for watching this devlog. I hope I have been clear enough because it's a complex system. It took a lot of time and micro adaptations from me that I could not detail here. I'm already working on the next step, which is the creation of the quests and the quest log. Obviously, it will be closely linked to the system of dialogue that I have set up. Do not hesitate to give your opinion in the comments. You can also subscribe to not miss the next devlogs. I stream at least one day on Twitch for Astreterre. Thanks to everyone who helps this project. See you soon. Bye bye.